Hello, welcome to Mental Math Life class. This evening, it is time for class. If you are in class, please type your name in the comment section. Let me know the first students in the class. If you are in class right now, type your name in the comment section. Let's know the students that are in class. Okay, Jay is in class, Possible is in class, and Farida is in class. Thank you for coming to class. So let's quickly move on to learning some mental math concepts before we dive into other aspects that are much more complex. All right, so we're going to quickly learn easy percentages. Easy percentages with multiples of 11. Easy percentages with multiples of 11. You are in class right now. I say a big congratulations to you. For those who will join us later, they may have to watch the replay of this class. So, easy percentages with multiples of 11, calculating such percentage offhand, all right? Calculating such percentage mentally, that is in our head. Now, let's look at this, where we'll be dealing with percentages like this. Okay, so we'll be treating concepts like this. Okay, so let's dive in. The first one says, what is 30% of 440? All the examples given here have to do with multiples of 11. 440 is a multiple of 11. 330 is a multiple of 11. 550 is a multiple of 11. So that's why we are dealing with such percentages. Now I'm going to add one more. Okay, then we also have 50% of 660. 660 is a multiple of 11. Now, starting from the first one, 30% of 440. Anytime you've been asked to find percentages like 30% of 440, all you need to do is to strike out the first zeros, I mean the last zeros. Use the first zero to strike out the first zero, or the last zero rather, in the second number. Use the last zero of 30 to strike out the last zero of 440. You can do this in your head. All right, then you will multiply 3 by 4. You will multiply 3 by 4. Since 440 is a multiple of 11 and we have the digits being the same, it is because the digits are the same. 4444. That's why we'll be multiplying 3 by only one of the digits, which is 4. So 3 times 4 is equal to 12. All right, we know that. 3 times 4 is equal to 12. So what will be the answer of 30% of 440? I will write 12, giving a space in between. Then I'll add 1 and 2 together. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So 3 will be written at the middle. So the answer is equal to 132. The answer is equal to 132. Now the second one, 20% of 330. Use the zero in the first number to strike out the last zero in the second number. Then 2 times 3, that will give us 6. 6 is a one-digit number. And another way to write 6 is 06. So I'm going to write 0, and I will write, going to add 0 and 6 together. 6 will give me 6. I'll write 6 at the middle. So it means the answer is 66. The answer is 66. So 20% of 330 is equal to 66. 20% of 330 is equal to 66. So that is the answer to this. So this is something you can do mentally. When I mean mentally, I mean you can do it in your head without using a pen, without using a calculator. Now, number 3. What is 40% of 550? So strike out the last zeros of each number, then multiply 4 by one of the digits because the digits are the same. Because 5 and 5 are the same. So just multiply 4 by 5, that's 20. Write 2, write 0 with a space at the middle. Then add the two digits together. 2 plus 0, that is 2. Write it at the middle. The answer is 220. So 40% of 550 is to 220. That is the answer. Number 4. 70% of 220. 70% of 220. Strike out the last zeros. Then multiply 7 by 2. That will give you 14. Write 1, write 4, giving a space at the middle. Add 1 and 4 together, that will give you 5. Write it at the middle. So the answer is equal to 154. 70% of 220 is equal to 154. Number 5. 50% of 660. 50% of 660. You're going to strike out the zeros. Strike out the zeros. Multiply 5 by 6. That is 30. Write 3, write 0, giving a space in between. Add 3 and 0 together. That will give you 3. Write it at the middle. So that's the answer. 50% of 660 is equal to 330. If you're following me, type 10 in the comment section. If you are following me, type 10 in the comment section. All right, great, great. Now let's look at another example. Let's look at 20% of 440. What is 20% of 440? Now strike out the last zeros of each number. Then multiply 2 by 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, 8 is a single digit. But what we need is 2 digits. And another way of writing 8 to make it 2 digits will be 08. 08 is the same thing as 8. So we need these to be 2 digits. So 2 times 4 is 8. Write 0, write 8 with a space in between. Then add 0 and 8 together. 0 plus 8, that will be 8. Write 8 at the middle. So the answer is 088. And 088 is the same thing as 88. So 20% of 440 is equal to 88. Another question. What is 30% of 220? What is 30% of 220? Strike out the last zeros. Multiply 3 by 2. 3 times 2 is equal to 6. But we need 2 digits to be written down. Another way to write the number 6 is to write 06, because 6 is the same as 06. So write 0, write 6 with a space in between, then add 0 and 6 together. That will give us 6. Write the answer at the middle. So the answer is 66. So 066 is the same thing as 66. So 30% of 220 is equal to 66. I hope it is clear. Now, for this mathematical concept, it is question time. For this mathematical concept, it is question time. The first question, what is 30% of 330? What is 30% of 330? For this question, you will have 5 marks. For this question, you have 5 marks. What is 30% of 330? Type your answer in the comment section. Type your answer in the comment section. What is 30% of 330? Awesome. Awesome. I like smart students. I like smart students. Awesome. Yeah. Now, let's do it together. So we strike out the 0 and multiply 3 by 3. That will give us 9. And another way to write 9 is 09. So 0 and 9 written with a space in between. Then add the 2 digits together. You have 9 right at the middle. So 099 is the same thing as 99. So 30% of 330 is equal to 99. So if you typed 99 in the comment section, give yourself 5 marks. Give yourself 5 marks. Now the next question. So what is 40% of 990? What is 40% of 990? What is 40% of 990? Amazing. Yes, I can see the correct answers in the comment section. That's amazing. So let's do it together. So the first thing you need to do is to strike out the zeros. All right, then multiply 4 by 9. 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, 4 times 9 is 36. So write 3 and 6 with a space in between. Then add 3 and 6 together. That will be 9. Write 9 at the middle, and the answer is 396. Now, this is time for another question. This is time for another question. What is 90% of 880? So for this number 2 question, give yourself 5 marks. For number 2 question and for the correct answer, give yourself 5 marks. Okay, now question 3. What is 90% of 880? What is 90% of 880? All right, thank you for those who were able to send their answers quickly. Now, what we need to do is to strike out the zeros. Then we'll multiply 9 by 8. So 9 times 8 is 72. Write 7, write 2 with a space in between. Then add 7 and 2 together. You have 9. Write it at the middle. So the answer is 792. So 90% of 880 is 792. If that was the answer that you typed, give yourself 5 marks. Give yourself 5 marks. Now let's move on to another concept. Let's move on into another concept. More on decimal. More on decimal. Now let's look at this. When you have something like 0.3, 0.3 times 440. How can you do this mentally? You may not need a pen, because while you are on the go, you need to quickly do this calculation. What is 0.3 times 440? Now look at the magic. I want you to look at the magic. Now this mental math concept is only applicable to numbers in one decimal place like this. Decimals that look like this, not all decimals. For decimals that look like this only, all right? 0.3 times 440. So this is the mental math strategy. You see the 0 that is for 0.3, strike it out, and also strike out the 0. Do the same thing like we did in the percentages. Multiply 3 by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Write 1, write 2 with a space in between. Then add the 2 digits together. 1 plus 2, that is 3. So the answer is 132. So that's the magic. So if I was you, this is what I was going to do. I would just pick 3 and multiply it by 4. I already know that the zeros will be taken out. So the only thing I would do is to take 3 and multiply it by 4. And straight away, I will add up the 2 digits together, and I'll also put the answer at the middle. Now let's look at another example. 0.7 times 330. 0.7 times 330. Strike out the zeros. Just multiply 7 by 3. That will give us 21. Write 2, write 1. Then add 2 and 1 together. That will give you 3. Write it at the middle. So the answer is 231. The answer is 231. That is the answer. Now let's move on to the next one. Look at number 3. We have 0.8 times 550. 0.8 times 550. Strike out the zeros. Multiply 8 by 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Write 4, write 0. Then add 4 and 0 together. That will give you 4. Write it at the middle. So the answer is equal to 440. Now, the same type of example, that's why this concept is only meant for decimals like this. You cannot apply this method to all the decimals, all right? So what is 0.9 times 660? The same thing, cross out the zeros, then multiply 9 by 6. That will give you 54. Write 5, write 4. Then add 5 and 4 together, that is 9. Write it at the middle. So the answer is equal to 594. The answer is equal to 594. Take note, it is only applicable to this method, okay? So what is 0.8 times 770? What is 0.8 times 770? Strike out the zeros, multiply 8 by 7, all right? 8 times 7 is 56. Write 5, write 6 with a space at the middle. Add the two digits together. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 plus 6 is 11. You are adding, rather, not multiplying. 5 plus 6 is 11. Write 1 at the middle, carry 1 over. So that will be 616. So the answer is 616. If you have learned, type 9 in the comment section. If you have learned, type 9 in the comment section. Type 9 in the comment section if you understand what we are doing right now. That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's just a bit of decimal and percentages, okay? That's a bit of decimal and percentages. Now let's go into evaluation of decimals. Now, this is a complex math, and our idea of mental math will make this easy to solve these problems. Evaluation of decimals. Make sure you're ready to learn this. Get ready to learn this. You may be asked to evaluate a decimal. So how will you be able to do that, especially when it involves multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and so on. So let's look at the first example. So it says evaluate 0.42 divided by 0.07. 0.42 divided by 0.07. When some students see questions like this, they get scared. But it is very simple. You have two ways to doing this. There are two ways to solving this kind of question. Now, anytime you want to evaluate by decimal, you want to evaluate decimal, we have what we call the dividend and the divisor. Now, this first number on the left is called the dividend because it is division. The number on the right is called the divisor. All right. The number on the left is called the dividend. The number on the right is called the divisor. Okay. So whenever you're being given questions like this, make sure you ensure that your divisor is a whole number. Make sure you are able to transform this question such that the divisor will be a whole number. So make the divisor a whole number. Now, whatever you do to the divisor, you must also do to the dividend. Now, what are we going to do to the divisor? We are going to shift the decimal point outside to the right so that the divisor can become a whole number. Now, watch me. Shifting the decimal point right now, 1, 2. So we've been able to take out the decimal points, counting. So whatever you do to the divisor, do it to the dividend. So now I'm going to do the same thing to the dividend, counting only twice. That was what I did to the divisor. So let's do it together. 1 and 2. So wherever you stop counting is where your decimal point will be. But right now, the decimal point has been shifted outside. So which means our dividend is now 42 divided by the divisor is now 7 because we shifted the decimal point out. So 0.042 divided by 0.07 is the same thing as 42 divided by 7. It is the same thing as 42 divided by 7. I hope it is clear. So what is 42 divided by 7? 42 divided by 7 is 6. So it means 0.42 divided by 0.07 is equal to 6. The first step always when evaluating decimals is for you to make the divisor a whole number. I have pointed out the divisor to you, okay? Make the divisor a whole number first before you continue. Now let's look at another example. Let's look at this together. 0.072 over 0.09. 0.072 divided by 0.09. Now, this is what we're going to do. Make the divisor a whole number. So 0.09 is the divisor. That's the first thing we need to make as a whole number. So let's make it a whole number by shifting the decimal point out. So let's move it 1, 2. write 9. We have shifted the decimal point. All other digits that are on the left are zeros. So that's why we are not writing them. It is because they are zeros. That's why we are not writing them. So we have 9. So we counted twice to the right. So let's do the same thing to the numerator. 1, 2. You can see where the decimal point will be for this number. So 007.2 is the same thing as 7.2. So with this, it will be easy for you to divide. So 7 divided by 9 is impossible. So you're going to have 0 points. Because of that 0 point, you can now place 7 beside 2. So that makes it 72. Take note. You can now place 7 beside 2. That makes it 72. Or you rather place 2 beside 7. That makes it 72. So 72 divided by 9, that will give us 8. So you write it down. So 7.2 divided by 9 is 0.8. Let's go back to the original question. 0.072 divided by 0.09 is equal to 0.8. It is equal to 0.8. 0.072 divided by 0.09 is equal to 0.8. Always make the number on the right side a whole number. That will make your multiplication and your division easy, all right? That will make it easy. Now let's move on to number 3. We are still evaluating decimals. Okay, so let's evaluate 0.03 times 0.0 divided by 0.009. 0.03 times 0.006 divided by 0.009. Okay, let me add something to that of 9. So I will increase it. So that will be equal to 0.00009. Yes, I have 4 zeros as the denominator. Okay, so now we have to evaluate this question. The first thing you need to do is deal with the numerator, make the numerator a single number, all right? Before you start dividing everything, I hope that is clear. So the first thing we need to do is to now multiply 0.03 by 0.006. Now, how can we easily do this? Let's make the number on the right a whole number by moving the decimal point. So let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. That will make us have 6 times. Also move the decimal point on the left. We moved by 3. Do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. This empty space, fill it up with 0. So we have 0030, that is 30, okay? So 30 times 6 is equal to 180. 30 times 6 is equal to 180, and that is same. Now, after doing this to the multiplication, you need to take it back to the former form. You need to take it back to what it was. Don't forget. You need to take it back to what it was. Now I'm going to show you how to take it back to what it was. Now, this is how to take it back to what it was. Pay full attention. Pay full attention. Right here in the question, we had 0.003. 0.003 times 0.006 divided by 0.009. 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 0.003 times 0.006 digits after the decimal point. Look at the first question, this particular question. Look at the digits after the decimal point. How many times did we move the decimal point? How many times did we move the decimal point? We moved the decimal point 3 times in the divide in the multiplying the multiplier rather. This is called the multiplier. So we moved the decimal point 3 times. Also, to the number on the left, we moved the decimal point 3 times. Altogether, we have moved the decimal point 6 times. So we are going to return the decimal point because this is multiplication and not division. So right from where we are, we place a decimal point on the right side here. Then we begin to move it 6 times to the left. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is where the new decimal point will be placed. So for these empty spaces, we're going to fill them up with zeros. Then to the left, there is no number. To the left of the decimal point, there is no number. So introduce a zero. So the final answer of the numerator is 0.00018. Zero shouldn't end a decimal number. So when zero is the last digit of the decimal number, strike it out. All right. So this is the numerator of that question. We've been able to multiply 0.03 by 0.006. Now let's divide it by 0.00009. What is it going to give us? So that will be 0.00018 divided by 0.00009. I think we have about 4 zeros before 9. Yes. Now, how do we divide? Don't forget I said that you should make your divisor. I said that the divisor should be made a whole number when it comes to division. So let's shift the decimal point out by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So since we counted 5, to be able to move the decimal point outside so that we can have 9, we're also going to shift the decimal point of the numerator 5 times to the right. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So which means the decimal point has been shifted out also. So that will be 18. 9. The answer is 2. So it means that the answer to all these, okay, 0.03 times 0.006. Okay, that's the question. 0.03 times 0.006 divided by 0.00009 is equal to 2. So the answer to the question is equal to 2. So that's why you should have a good knowledge of decimal. That's why you should have a good knowledge of decimal. Another fantastic way to get this done, let's use the second method, is to change it to fraction. So maybe in the next class, you're going to learn how to change decimals to fraction. I think we have done that. We have done that. But you're going to learn how to divide by powers of 10 and also how to multiply by powers of 10. So let's use the second method to evaluate. Now, if you want to evaluate this with the second method, you can change each of these numbers to fraction. So 0.03, change it to fraction. Write 0.03 as a whole number, that's 3. 003 is the same thing as 3 divided by how many digits do you have after the decimal point? 1, 2. Come to the numerator, make it a 0, 1, 2. So that's 3 over 100. So we have been able to change that to fraction. Now we are also going to change 0.006 to fraction. Now let's do that together. 0.006 is equal to 6 over, we have 3 digits after the decimal, 1, 2, 3. Make it a denominator, 1, 2, 3. That's 1,000. So that is 6 over 1,000. Now let us also change 0.00009 to fraction. So let's write all these as a whole number. That will be 9 divided by, immediately after the decimal point, count all the digits. I'm not saying count the zeros. I said count all the digits. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come to the denominator and form your powers of 10 with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 100,000. So we have changed everything to fraction. Now it will be easy for us to multiply and divide. So that will be 3 over 100 times 6 over 1000 divided by 9 over 100,000. So don't forget that when dealing with fraction, you can change your division sign to multiplication. And when you change the division sign to multiplication, you have to turn the fraction upside down. So that will be 3 over 100 times 6 over 1000 times, don't forget, the division sign becomes multiplication. Then you turn the fraction upside down. That will be 100,000 over 9. Now, when you're turning a fraction upside down, you're actually introducing the reciprocal of that fraction. Reciprocal or inverse means the same fraction turned upside down, all right? So now let us reduce to the lowest term. So 0 will cancel 0, 0 will cancel 0, 0 cancels 0, 0 takes out 0, 0 takes out 0. Now, let's reduce the fraction. 3 can divide 9. 3 into 3 is 1. 3 into 9 is 3. 3 can divide 6. 3 into 3 is 1. 3 into 6 is 2. So you can see that for the numerator, we do not have any other number than 2. And for the denominator, is just 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. And all whole numbers are divisible by 1, you will still get the same number. So you can see that using another method like we have done will still make us get the same answer. If you have learned, please type 8 in the comment section. If you just learned, please type 8 in the comment section. Type 8 in the comment section. Awesome. That is amazing. All right. That is amazing. Okay, so it is question time. Question time for evaluation of fractions. I think using the second method will be easy for you, right? Using the second method will be easy for you. Now, the first one, evaluate. All right, so this is the question. So do this now. Let's see the students with the fastest mind to think. This question will give you 10 marks. This question will give you 10 marks. So do it now. You have only 30 seconds. Okay, so answers. Okay, I can see different answers. So let's do it together and let's see who goes with the 10 marks. So we have 0.004 times 0.2. So let's use the simplest method by changing 0.04 to fraction. So 0.04 to fraction, that will be 4 over 100, right? 0.2 to fraction, that will be 2 over 10. Then 0.002 to fraction, that will be 2 over 1000. Okay, so now let's evaluate everything. So we have 4 over 100 times 2 over 10 divided by 2 over 1000. And that will be equal to 4 over 100 times to multiplication, then that is 2 over, that will be 1000 over 2. So that will be 1000 over 2. So now 0 will cancel 0. The 2 zeros right here, we also cancel the 2 zeros up there. So 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 2 is 1, and the final answer is 4. So if you typed 4 as your answer, give yourself 10 marks. Give yourself 10 marks. So in the comment section, how many together in this class? How many marks have you gotten all together in this class? How many marks have you gotten all together in this class? Yes, some people have 25 marks. That's fantastic. So I hope you enjoy the class. So we'll meet some other time. See you next time. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye, everyone.